welcome to the Marketing with Cultura podcast designed for Latinas breaking into marketing. Hola, I am your host, Vanessa Parra, a Latina marketer and career coach for Latinas breaking into marketing. Welcome. I know it's been a while since we last spoke. It's honestly been about 4.5 months, and a lot has happened both in my personal and career life. So today, I just wanted to go over what I've been up to after landing my dream marketing job, which I go into way more detail back in episode 84. You may ask, okay, why do I care? Maybe you don't care, but I thought it'd be fun for you to hear what I've been up to because at the end of the day, it will be affecting how you consume and what you learn through this podcast. And you might also get inspired and start testing things out on your own because if you're listening to this podcast episode, I imagine you're a Latina in marketing or at least someone interested in marketing and you're at your beginning stages of your career and just need tips. So you never know, maybe by listening to this episode, you get inspired and you try testing or try new things to help your career grow. Let's start off briefly with some personal stuff. Like I mentioned before, the last time I published an episode was back in March, I believe. And a lot has happened since then. I planned my mom's 60th birthday party, which was amazing. If you follow me on Instagram at the Marketing with Cultura podcast, I share a lot of behind the scenes of not only of my career, but as well as my podcast, networking events, client testimonials, and just behind the scenes of my everyday life. And my mom turned 60 and my brother and I threw her this huge pachanga. She had never had a quinceañera in her life. Honestly, she's never really had a big party. There's episodes that I published at the beginning when I first launched this podcast where I go into way more detail about my mom and everything that she's done for me to support me through my career. I knew I wanted to do something really special for her, especially because she's such an extrovert. I do not consider myself an extrovert, even though ironically I am in marketing and it involves a lot of extrovert activities. Don't get it confused with being shy. I'm not shy, but I'm not an extrovert. But on the other hand, my mom is such an extrovert and loves the attention and loves all glitter and her favorite color is purple. So it was such a fun event. I'm just glad that my brother and I were able to throw her that party. But as you all know, females are typically the ones to take the lead when it comes to the party planning and just making sure everything was perfect, especially for a type A type of mom that loves taking control and wants things a certain way. It was mostly me doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So you can imagine how time consuming that was, especially because the party was not where I live. I live in Salinas, California, and she lives in Fresno because I'm originally from the Central Valley. So that was kind of a challenge trying to book vendors that you're not too sure if they're going to work out or not. So it's always good to find out like what's happening in other areas, get familiar with vendors, follow vendors on social media because you never know when you'll need them. On the other hand, I was balancing two roles. I work for a company where we help a lot of underserved youth find jobs in creative fields and tech companies. And my title was employer engagement manager, where I connected with a lot of recruiters, hiring managers from tech companies, and I helped place these members slash interns into those type of roles. And I was able to land a job in marketing with the same company. But while I am building up that department and finding my replacement, I literally had to do two jobs. And that was very time consuming as well. That's one of the reasons why I took a break as well from this podcast. It was just getting to be very overwhelming with my mom's party planning, the two roles, and then everything else on top of that. I've also been doing a lot of interviews, again, trying to build up my team, and we're in the process of interviewing different people for an internship program that the company that I work for offers every year. By now, a lot of the roles have been filled, but if you would like to hear more information regarding these internships and you live in the communities near Salinas, Watsonville, Modesto, Stockton, and Gilroy, feel free to message me either on LinkedIn or Instagram, which you can find in the show notes. And I can share more information because we do this every year, and it would definitely help you out in order to help you land that marketing job as well. And you would work directly with me. I'd be coaching you. So if it's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me. I've just been really busy trying to develop my team from scratch, fill some roles to get the cohort going in August. I've also been really busy with my daughter's travel ball. She plays softball and she's really good at it, even though she's only 9. It's our first year doing travel ball, so you can imagine how busy that is. But I think the hardest thing of everything else that I was doing is that I had sprained my ankle back in, I think it was like the last week of October. I missed a lot of fun things like Halloween, and I mean, I didn't miss Thanksgiving or Christmas, but it was just hard to get around. I was in my cousin's wedding and I had to give speech and had to do a bunch of stuff, and I couldn't because of my ankle. And side note, I've never broken anything or hurt myself in the past. So this was the first time I had like a full on injury where I um sprained my ankle, and it took me 6 months to recover. I was originally on a little like scooter to navigate and do things around the house that needed to get done. And then eventually I was on crutches. And then after that, I was just limping everywhere I went. So it literally took me like 6 months to recover. And in order to recover, I've been doing a lot of exercising, going to the gym, trying to strengthen my ankle, my body in general, and just really trying to take care of myself and be healthier. Prior to me hurting myself, I was already jumping or on the bandwagon, as you say, regarding my fitness journey, but then I hurt myself, so I kind of had to stop, and now I'm just back into that groove. I've been enjoying going back to the gym and just trying to eat healthier and make it more of a lifestyle, without really restricting myself from a lot of things. But right now, my goal is just to be strong and healthier and to fully recover from this injury. I think I'm literally like maybe 98.9% ready. It still does hurt a little when I start to run, but other than that, I'm doing way better. And that alone could be a podcast episode on how injuries can really affect your mindset, your mood, which can ultimately affect your career. So I know that would be an interesting subject to talk about. Now, on the career side, you would think, wow, that sounds like a lot, Vanessa. You went through all that. And now that I am actually talking about it, it is a lot, which I guess if you could hear my thoughts or read my mind, I don't know about you, but I constantly feel like I'm on a hamster wheel and I'm not doing enough. And that could be from being a mom to a wife to my career to my podcast to everything. I just always feel like I'm not doing enough, which again, I don't know if it's a whole like Latino thing or being first gen and always constantly having to prove yourself. I'm not sure, but I just went over my personal stuff. Now let me go over my career stuff that I've been working on for these past few months. I don't know if I've spoken to you about this in the past. I probably have, but I haven't really gone into much detail. My whole purpose of starting this podcast is obviously to help you land your marketing job, to help you with mentorship, with advice, to introduce you to other Latinas in marketing. But ultimately, I was also trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Don't get me wrong. I love my job, especially this new role that I just got where I get to be part of a creative agency and work with different types of clients. So get exposed to different industries that maybe in the past I hadn't worked with. I also get to coach and develop a bunch of marketing assistants throughout different communities, which is like kind of like a hybrid type of model. But most importantly, the whole fact that I get to help you, right, land that job. But for me, I wanted, even though like I said, I love this job, I know at the end of the day, I want to have my own business. I know it's going to tie back to marketing somehow, but just for the past few years, I've been reflecting and seeing what's possible in my career. And I know that if I really, really wanted to, I could probably find that VP role in marketing eventually, maybe someday become the chief of marketing somewhere. But I don't know if that's the dream that I want for myself, especially in this season of my life where I have a daughter. For me, true success is having flexibility in my schedule, being able to do what I love, impact our community, but also get to do marketing. But most importantly, have time to do things that I enjoy, going to the gym, dancing, being at my daughter's softball games, spending time with my husband and my daughter, visiting my parents in the Central Valley, stuff like that. Like to me, that's success. And even though right now in the season of my life, I do have that flexibility and I'm very grateful and appreciative because believe me, for the longest, I did not have that in my life. At the end of the day, I know like I want to be a full time business owner. So I've been venturing on different things just to really figure out what the next step would be. And I also believe in manifestation, law of attraction. I think I've mentioned it in previous episodes, especially if you are an avid listener. Different methods, processes that I've done to really incorporate that into my life that has really helped me reflect and find out like, what do I want to do with my career, with my life? And I just feel a sense of peace now and I feel more calm. And even though I don't have it completely figured out, I do know that I'm on the right path. I'm going to get there. And what I like is that I'm sharing my experiences and documenting everything through this podcast, through my social media channels, like on Instagram. So again, if you would like to follow me and see all these behind the scenes, everything that I'm doing, feel free to follow me so you can ask me questions and cheer me on. That would be amazing. But either way, again, the best way to figure out what you want to do is by just trying different things. And all this can be another podcast episode by itself. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but in the past, like I tried being a food influencer or experience like a experience slash food or travel influencer, whatever you want to call it. I did that. I started a YouTube channel back in when COVID happened. I tried launching a blog. There's so many things that I tried. And I don't know, it just never felt like it aligned with my overall purpose or my passion. And I just wouldn't see it through. Well, throughout these months, even though, like I mentioned, everything was going great in my personal life, in my career, in the back of my mind, I always, again, wanted to see like, what can I turn into business? What can I do? So I've been venturing on a few projects. One, I worked with a local content creator slash influencer because I had thought about maybe someday starting like a influencer slash talent management agency along with social media services, but I wasn't sure if that's something I really wanted to do. I know I have a lot of knowledge and value to provide because with previous roles, especially working in the hospitality and travel industry, I worked with a lot of influencers. And so, because I love the Latino community, I love empowering Latinos, I've noticed there's a lot of local content creators that they're exploding on social media. They're attracting businesses, collaborations, but I also noticed that they're not getting paid. They're getting all this attention, but they're not getting paid what they deserve. I also noticed a lot of things that they weren't doing correctly, and not because they're not smart, it's just that they don't know any better, right? A lot of these content creators slash influencers aren't taking their influencer career seriously. They're not treating it as a business. They're treating it more as a hobby, or like if they were celebrities. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure, yes, you might be an influencer or content creator because, yeah, maybe you do want the attention, right? But I'm pretty sure the main driver is the money, right? And there's just a lot of things on the back end that need to be set up in order for you to carry yourself as a true business owner, and for business owners and marketers to see you as a true partner and pay you what you deserve. And with that said, that's why I was testing this out and I was working with a local influencer and content creator. I will create another podcast episode where I will talk about this case study because I feel like it's a really good story to really go into more detail. And I don't want to use up this episode to talk about that, but just wanted to let you know that I've been working on that. Long story short, I realized, yes, I can help a lot of people. And yes, it's fun work, but ultimately it's not what I want to do as a full-time job. So I've decided to slowly fade away from those services unless I get, I guess, more people interested. So if you're listening and this is a topic that you're interested in, feel free to DM me on Instagram and maybe I can figure something out. But as of now, I think I'm going to walk away for it. Maybe in the future, I will revisit it. But we did learn a lot. The content creator learned a lot and he's making a lot more money. So just wanted to let you know. The other thing I've been venturing on are taking on a few coaching clients, specifically Latinas that are trying to break into marketing. They're trying to land their first marketing job or first marketing internship and just feel really lost. They've been applying, but they don't have real world experience, or they don't know if their resume is up to, the level that a hiring manager would be looking for. And so I've been working with a lot of different Latinas in different levels. Some, yes, starting from scratch, and some that maybe are not in marketing but are trying to transition into marketing, and we're trying to leverage those transferable skill sets to really position them as marketers. And I've been doing a lot of that and been seeing a lot of success there. And after doing that, honestly, it's something that I'm very passionate about, that I actually enjoy doing. And because of that, I would like to take on a few more coaching clients. So if this is something that you feel interested in venturing, feel free to go to the show notes and schedule a free 15-minute coaching call, and we can discuss where you're at in your career and how I can best support you. Don't worry, I'm not going to charge you for that coaching session. After that, we can figure out if we can work together. If we do not work together, that's okay. Feel free to keep listening to this podcast because I plan to share a lot more value. But honestly, the best way to advance in your career is by having someone that's done it, share their tips and tricks and give you advice. And most importantly, just be there to be a sounding board and offer feedback. Because sometimes, you might think you're on track, but you don't really know. And it's great when you have someone that's ahead of you that can actually give you feedback, give you suggestions, help you connect with other marketers. And that's just something that I'm very passionate about. So, again, if you're interested, feel free to go to the show notes and schedule a free 15-minute coaching session. The other thing I've been doing a lot, like I mentioned in my 9 to 5, I've been managing a marketing team for a creative agency with a bunch of assistants that we've been working on a lot of fun social media projects, marketing projects. Right now, my team's fairly small, but in the fall, it will be probably triple its size. And I'm really enjoying it. In the past, I've worked as a freelancer, but I've never been consistent because it's a lot of work. As a freelancer, you're the one doing everything, right? From the prospecting to the discovery calls to writing the strategy, doing the research, to creating the content calendar, to doing the actual content creation, scheduling the content, creating social media reports, and so on and so on. And it's just been a lot. And I've always done it like on top of my full-time job, that There's times where I like it. I think it's a really good way to gain more experience, to test out ideas, but it's not sustainable. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I just feel like it's harder to charge your worth when it's just you because it's just a lot. But now that I work with an agency and I have different team members, I have a few videographers, I have account managers, I have designers. I see a big difference. Like my quality of work has been elevated and we're attracting high-end clients. We're getting a lot done as opposed to just me doing the work by myself. Doing this type of work has really opened my eyes to possibly in the future, maybe opening my own social media agency because it always bummed me out the fact that I wasn't consistent with my freelancing, but I see why. It's just a lot of work for one person and it's really unrealistic, especially if you want to scale. So I'll keep you in the loop because that's definitely something that I probably will be starting, not right now, but later, and I would love to share what's going on. But in the meantime, I will share with you during these different podcast episodes, like my experience of different stages of working in an agency, as well with coaching my different clients in helping all these Latinas land marketing roles. So make sure to stay tuned. Another exciting thing that I want to announce is that I will be focusing more on YouTube. So, starting next week, you'll still be able to listen to the podcast episode as an audio file through Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but I will be starting to post on YouTube and I'm going to do my best to focus more on YouTube. And I'll create another podcast episode of why I'm doing that, but I just wanted to share with you that information because I didn't want to just start posting and then you'd be like, oh, wait, she's on YouTube. Like, what happened? And so I just want to let you know that I will be starting next week posting on YouTube. I will also be dropping weekly episodes on Wednesdays as opposed to Mondays. I know in the past I've done Mondays, but just based on my schedule and, balancing everything that I do, I've decided to move my podcast episodes on Wednesdays. So make sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel and I'll be sharing a lot more episodes over there. But most importantly, on top of everything else, I also will be interviewing more Latinas in marketing and just showcasing different pathways, different areas in marketing. Marketing is so broad. And at no point do I want to come up here and say, like, I'm an expert in all things marketing because that's not true. I have a really good understanding of all the different areas in marketing, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm an expert in every area. And so my goal is to help you as well learn from other Latinas in marketing and to connect you with them in hopes that maybe you can work with them closely or build a network or a community with all of us and to grow in your career and help you land that role that you're looking for. Well, I know this episode might be a little long, but I really wanted to share like all the cool things that I have been doing for the past few months and all the new exciting things that I will be doing moving forward and would love for you to be part of my world, for me to help you, to connect you to the right people. And that's why I decided to create this episode today. Before I let you go, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, please do me a favor and leave a review because that's the only way that I'll be able to grow this podcast and get in front of more Latinas that are kick-ass and great like you are to help them, grow in their marketing career and hopefully help build a strong network and community where we can help one another. Well, I hope you enjoyed it and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.